Hi, I'm Angela, fashion designer and online instructor, and today we're taking a regular A-line skirt and turning it into sportswear with this cool ribbed waistband and a tie. A couple pattern alterations is all you need, and the rest is very simple to sew. Follow along. So here is the A-line skirt. This is what the waistband ends up looking like. Now, it does not matter what width of elastic you use. I'm going to show you how to do it with any of these sizes, so the technique's the same. So this particular waistband, I believe I cut this 5 inches wide. I did. So folded in half, that'd be 2.5 inches. So it's a 2.5 inch wide waistband. So on the pattern, I need to take away 2 inches. So I'm just going to line this up along here. It's easy to see that, right? So there's 2 inches. But I need to add a seam allowance. So there's 2.5 inches on here. I'm going to add a 1/2 inch here. So basically I'm taking away 1.5 inches. So I'm going to trace that all the way around. Now I would use a ruler. Right now I'm just eyeing it, but that's where I would cut. So this is going to be my new skirt. I'm going to do the same thing to the back piece. Well, what if you've already cut out your skirt? No problem. Here's my A-line skirt. I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to add a ribbed waistband. So go ahead and cut off 1.5 inches right off your skirt. Just like that. That's how easy that is. You're ready to alter your pattern. So here's my waist. The width of this waistband is whatever the measurement is all the way across the front and the back after taking away that 1.5 inches. Now don't forget you have to take that away on the back side as well. So just measure around here and measure around there, and that's going to be the same measurement of your width. The skirt already fit, remember? So we don't have to worry about altering that. So here is my ribbed waistband. I've already sewn together the center back seam. I've folded it in half and pressed it. So you have to imagine that's what's going right here. So what I've chalked in is the center front. That's the center front. And then about 1.5 inches away on each side, I've chalked in another line. Because this is where we're going to add buttonholes. You could also add rivets, but we need something for this tape to come through. And you can use any type of tape. Now what about the elastic? When I mentioned you could use any type of elastic. This is a little bit wider. This is going to slide in all the way to the top edge. And we're going to finish the inside of this with a cover hem. Check this out right here. This waistband, doesn't it look like I'm probably using a pretty wide elastic? Well, I'm not. On the inside, this elastic is only that wide. You see it? So I serged it with the cover hem, but you can't see the cover hem from the outside. It's a great look for sportswear, simple to do. So the first thing you're going to do is take your ribbed waistband, sew together in the center back seam, press it open, and then this is fusible interfacing. Just cut a strip and press this in place. This is to protect your fabric when we sew in the buttonholes. So go ahead and take your elastic. You want your elastic to measure as close to being the same amount of width as this waistband. If you're not sure, wrap it around yourself and measure. You're going to need that and then a tie. Let's go to the sewing machine. So here is my elastic. I've already measured it. I know that I'm going to be overlapping just a little bit. So I'm going to the machine, change it to a zigzag stitch, and just go back and forth. You're just securing the elastic. No matter what size, it's going to be the exact same. Now I'm going to open my waistband up, matching up the center back. This is the center back. You can kind of see, I'll put a pin here so you can see it. And this is the center front. And just line this up. This is going to be on the inside of the waistband, remember, not on the outside. So you can see my fold that I've pressed already. Line this up right on the edge of that fold, right there. This is the inside of the waistband, in case you're not following. Let's see, here's our lines. This is my center front. I already have it chalked in. I tried to press this a little bit for you so you could follow along. It's hard when it's all going in circles. Okay, so there is my waistband. This is just a little bit smaller. That's okay. Go ahead and just give it a little pull, just a little one. walk your fingers in and put a pin right there. Again, I'm pinning where this goes right on the edge of that fold. Make sure it doesn't go over to the front side. And then on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. Give it a little stretch and walk it. Okay, that's pretty easy to do. Now, while it's pinned in place, I'm going to go and take this to the cover hem machine, but before I do that, I'm going to take this area here. This is where we're going to need to add 2 buttonholes. So I'm just going to lay this flat, change my foot to a buttonhole. How wide do you want your button? Well, usually you would put a button back here, right? So just kind of eyeball it. I wouldn't go too far, because this is just going to be a little hole right here for this to fit through. So maybe, let's just say 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch. Once you do this once, maybe just make a buttonhole so you can see what it looks like. Go ahead and then depending on your machine, make sure you have your machine set up for a buttonhole. This lever goes through here to tell me how, so they're both the same size, the same length. Change to a buttonhole. Any type of buttonhole is fine, but you want it to have a little bit of a wide opening. So don't pick one that's super narrow because you have to fit this through it. So, and I'm just going to start in the center and make myself a buttonhole. If you're not sure where the center of the waistband is, you could mark it with chalk. There's no exact science to this, it's just a design element. Remember, it's your skirt. Okay, that's one side. And now let's try that again. Same spot. That fusible interfacing makes this so good. It doesn't have the fabric stretch out. These buttonholes are so easy. They match perfectly. Looks great. Okay. There we have this. Now we're going to go to the cover hem machine. And the only thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up, I'm going to stitch on the edge of here and the edge of this fold. So it's going to go all the way through to the right side of the fabric. Now, if you don't have double cover hem on both sides, you're going to want to stitch from this side down because the pretty side, the sporty side, is going to be on the right side of the fabric. So for me, it doesn't matter because I have cover hem on both sides. So just stitch with your foot right on the edge of this elastic. And it should be just stitching a couple rows of stitching, and on the other side is going to be the side that looks like sportswear. Wrap all the way around. Just stretching the elastic just slightly as you go so it fits into place. We're almost back. All right. And then I'm just going to turn this and chain off. So here is my cover hem. See how pretty that is? It stretches with the elastic, so when you put it on, there's no problem at all. And the next thing that you're going to do is open up your buttonholes. If you have a buttonhole cutter, go ahead and use that. I don't suggest using a seam ripper just in case you snip too far. So give that a little snip. And the purpose for this is you have to feed in that string before you close the waistband. You don't have to, it's just easier. So open this back up. I'm going to wrap my rope around here. Give this a little trimming. All right, there's one side. Here's the other. Now take your elastic and fold it over. And I'm just going to use a couple pins to hold this in place. So basically what I'm doing is folding the elastic so the tie is on the other side. So here's the tie, there's the elastic. Just add a few of these. Match up your center back seam. and all the way around. See how it's a little bit easier to add that tie in there before? I mean, you could always feed it in with a pin, but I find this to be much faster. So there is our waistband. Now, if you had used a thinner elastic, it wouldn't have mattered because it would have attached that elastic to the very top. So I'm just gonna stitch just for a minute here and show you what this, using a straight stitch just to base this together. Use a long stitch length. I'm not going to use a regular straight stitch to attach this to the skirt. I'm just stitching this, and I'm going to bring you back over here and show you something. Okay. Let me go back up here so you can see this. So what I have here is the waistband is completely finished. You're going to go to the serger if you have a serger. If you don't have a serger, then you're going to want to use a zigzag stitch. But you're going to take this now to your skirt. If this was my piece, I would sew the sides of my skirt together, and then I would take this with wrong sides together and attach this to the skirt, matching up the center front and the center back. And when you're finished, it's all enclosed like this. So let's go back over here, check this out. Here is my tie, I can feel it in the front. Here is my elastic, I can feel that regardless if it was thin or thick. You could have a lot of fun things with the tie, and that is how simple it is to take a regular skirt and turn it into sportswear.